Welcome to Live with Lindsay. I am so overwhelmed. I won't ever make a difference. There's no way. I'm too small. I'm not educated enough. These are all stories I hear from so many different women. As I coach, heck, as just being a friend, a sister, you hear these different stories that women play in their mind all the time. And I have to constantly remind them, sis, you need to unenroll in that mindset. You need to unenroll in the thought that you're too small or too insignificant or you don't have the power to change things, right? No, you were created in the image of God. That means the same God that helped Ruth, that helped Esther, that helped Moses and David is the same God who can help you with the assignment that he's called you to do. Now, I feel like in the past few years, as we've all had to pause, right? We've all had to kind of reflect. I mean, I hope we didn't just like Netflix and chill the entire time that we were locked up. But it was a really great time for us to do some inner reflection, right? And I truly believe the time that we had this pandemic, it was either gonna be a catalyst for people to propel them to take action or paralyze them. And sadly, I see that so often. Women feeling paralyzed with the fear that they can't do something. Then other women being like, oh, this is propelling me to take action. Now, as I shared last week, we, my husband and I, we unenrolled from the ideology that we could trust in our public system in Southern California, thinking that, you know what, it's just not that bad. It's okay. I mean, we came out okay. We went to public school. We had to realize that things are so different now. And it's up to us to take that action. So we had to unenroll physically, go to the school that our children, that we literally bought a house so close, like walking distance. Like we bought this house because we thought, oh, this is where our kids are gonna go to school. We're gonna walk them to school. It's gonna be so magical. And yet those dreams were shattered. And I'm not gonna lie, when I realized that my daughter was not gonna continue to go to this school or my rest of my daughters were gonna go there, I had to have this time of mourning, this time to mourn of what I thought was going to be. Okay, what about these assemblies and student of the month, or me being able to volunteer and have fun with my kids and drop them off and watch them at their talent show? I had to mourn the thought that this life that my children are going to lead is going to look different. But after I had that moment of mourning, because it's good, we have to honor our feelings, I was sad. But then to also say, okay, God, but you have a bigger plan. You are in charge of my children. Please show me the way. So I have to tell you, this past year, we started our micro class. And friends, it has blessed us beyond belief. What I thought I was looking forward to from the assemblies and the little shows, and oh my gosh, it paled in comparison to what I got to see in this past year. We were able to see families come together and unite. I was able to not just volunteer every few months, but be there a few times a month. Be there from 8:30 to 12:30 or 1:30. Now some moms are like, oh heck no, I just wanna drop my kid off and go. I'm sorry, my girls, but this is a time and age, if you're gonna be a mom, we have to pay attention. We have to get involved. We don't get the luxury of just dropping them off and being part of PTA and thinking that that's enough. I'm not trying to shame anyone who does that, but what I am saying is we also have to advocate and see what curriculum is being taught. What type of teachers, principals, administrators are actually in charge of our children? Because if you think, and I get this all the time, well, Linz, we're gonna move out of state. I get it, and I'm for it. I have so many friends and family who've done that, and I'm so grateful for their experience. They've been blessed. We don't feel called to do that, right? But if you see California and you see New York having some pretty crazy things happen in our curriculum for children, what do you think happens? It starts to move in. This will start to infiltrate into different states, and we've seen this happen. So I truly feel called right now. I'm in California. Part of my assignment is standing up and doing whatever that I can to help protect the children that are in my community. Now, I thought I was gonna charge and make a big difference within the entire school district, but God was like, girl, pump the brakes. Let's just start with a few families, right? So we've been able to watch our children in this amazing classroom, and it's like Schoolhouse Model, okay? And when we tell some people this, they're like, oh my gosh, your children they're not gonna benefit from that. They're gonna be dumber, you know? And I'm like, oh, we're so boxed in, right? But if you actually research the Schoolhouse Model, this means various grades together, right? Like 1st through 3rd and 4th through 6th. Children actually thrive in this environment. Why? Because the youngers are exposed to the older curriculum. So like my kindergartner was doing 1st and 2nd grade level work by the end of the year. That's pretty crazy, right? And then the olders, they're not getting dumbed down education. They're learning leadership skills. They're learning even how to teach the littles. And you're watching this bridge of just, not even academically, but even emotionally, even relationally, them connecting with different type of children. And it's been such a blessing. And don't get me started with us teaching our kids real patriotism. Like they have their hand over their heart every morning. They are saluting the flag. And they're also singing like all these different songs that I grew up, like Yankee Doodle and like all these really fun patriotic songs they sing one every morning. So we were able to create a curriculum that was, yes, God-based, and then also taking them to another level academically that's going to help encourage and strengthen their different subjects, while at the same time teaching them about real history, okay? It has been so amazing. In the first year, we got to see even some of our kids test higher than their grade level. So we have seen this model be tried and true for this past year, and I'm so excited for more of the families who are joining us this year. Now, it's really funny because when you talk to people, they're just kind of like, man, this kind of sounds like The Village. All right, now I may be dating myself, but do you guys remember that movie with M. Night Shyamalan? And it's like, there's this village of people and they're like Amish type and they're living this life, and you find out at the end, the twist is they're actually like in modern day society and they've just created their own utopia. They're like, you're gonna create some weird kids like in The Village. And I start hysterically laughing. And at this point, I'm like, at the world we live in right now, like I'm okay with creating my little village, okay? But it is really neat because we have created what I believe is like our micro community, right? We live in California, where I understand why people want to leave the state and kind of slow down or have more freedoms. But I also know there are many families who are fighting constantly to protect our rights, to protect our children, and to make sure that we're still implementing God into our lives daily. And that's the most important thing. And as I shared, I had to unenroll from a lot of ideologies that I grew up with, thinking what my life for my children need to look like. And I share this because as I coach women, as I talk to different women, it may not be the micro class, right? It may be, I want to start the podcast. I want to start the business. Or gosh, my marriage is in shambles and I just want to leave. Or how can I work on this? You have to start with unenrolling that it's not possible. Because truthfully, Matthew 19:26 says, with God, all things are possible. Not some, not kind of, all. Which means even when you have the most impossible situation, God can move mountains if you let him. The first start, I believe, is asking God or talking to him. And when we say pray, I think some people get like, Father in heaven, please help me. Don't get me wrong, you can talk like that, but you also can say, God, I'm lost. I'm broken. My marriage sucks right now. My children, I don't know how to protect them. Can you please help me? He can hear you say that and understand your heart, always. So even just asking him, saying, Lord, I need help in these areas. These are stories that I've enrolled in, that since I was little, I've always been so insignificant. People pass me up all the time. How could I make a difference? No, unenroll from that story. You were created with a voice. You were created with power. Why? Because the Holy Spirit lives inside of you. So again, I don't know if you are called to create a micro school. I don't know if you're called to start a podcast or a business, but what I do know is you're called to unenroll in those stories that I believe the enemy has input into your mind, and to say, I'm a child of God and I was fearfully and wonderfully made and created for incredible purpose. So go out there, start asking God. You could be at your sink right now, washing dishes, going, oh, Linz, just cry out to him, talk to him. Maybe you're in your car, maybe you're in the shower, I don't know, but anywhere that you are, he will meet you and he has some incredible assignments for you to fulfill. Love you.